Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we really get into some fascinating, sometimes pretty complex source material for you. Today, we're tackling something huge. Humanity's oldest obsession, really. Cheating death. I mean, think about it. You've got ancient emperors like Qin Shi Huang with his, elixirs. Then Western alchemists looking for the philosopher's stone. Fast forward to today, billionaires pouring money into cryogenics, organ replacement.
It's always been there, hasn't it? This deep-seated desire to live longer, maybe forever. It's like fundamental to the human story.
Exactly. But it's always been just that, a story, a fantasy.
Well, yeah, confined to myths, maybe sci-fi. But what if? What if that changed? Like, really changed? What if the key to actual genuine longevity and slow aging wasn't a fantasy anymore? What if it was, a technology you could get?
Okay.
Our sources are suggesting that once the world gets wind of this specific tech, they call it a few things, the Air 6-No Labyrinth Purification System, sometimes the death replacement black box.
Right.
Or even, and this is pretty loaded, the Lord's longevity unlocking sacred artifact. Well, once that happens, society is in for a massive shock, like a truly seismic shift.
A seismic shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels like an understatement. And it's fascinating, that sacred artifact language the source uses.
It is, isn't it? It gives it this whole other layer.
We should definitely keep that framing in mind, this sort of divine angle.
Yeah.
But let's focus first on the more earthly impacts, and maybe circle back to that Lord's will idea later. So our mission today, unpack the reactions, the transformations this kind of revelation could unleash.
Right.
Globally.
Right.
We're talking immediate shock, then the social divides, the geopolitical scrambling.
And the long-term picture. What does civilization even look like after this?
Exactly. We'll walk you through 3 main waves of change based on these sources, and then look at where it could all lead the good and potentially the very bad.
Say it. Get ready. This one. It might make you rethink, well, pretty much everything about life, death, power.
Okay, let's dive in. The core idea, this Air 6-No Labyrinth thing, the sources don't give us the schematics, right? But they describe it less like medicine.
Yeah, not like a cure for cancer or heart disease. It's more fundamental. They talk about it neutralizing the source of poisoning.
Which sounds like aging itself, like cellular breakdown.
That seems to be the implication, not treating symptoms, but hitting the root cause. It's a total flip from how we think about health now. Managing illness versus, well, potentially eliminating aging as we know it.
So if something like that hits the public, what's the very first reaction you'd expect? Global panic, maybe celebration, but the sources suggest something else.
It's actually kind of funny in a dark way. They suggest the initial public reaction might be dismissal. Like, oh, great, another health trend.
Seriously, after millennia searching for this, we'd treat it like a new diet fad.
Apparently. There's so much noise about wellness and longevity already. People might just be skeptical at first, like your uncle rolling his eyes. Another magic bullet. Sure. Huh? Yeah, I can picture that. Until maybe his neighbor starts looking, 20 years younger.
Exactly. That's when it changes. It stops being hype. The sources talk about people personally experiencing toxin-free lungs, rejuvenating sleep, real tangible effects.
Ah, okay. So it's not marketing spin, it's lived experience.
And once individuals feel that difference, genuinely revitalized, healthier word gets out. Fast.
It would spread like wildfire, you'd think.
Like wildfire, yes, but the sources say think bigger. They compare it to the mask-buying frenzy during the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
But they argue this would be orders of magnitude bigger, because it's not just about avoiding sickness temporarily, it's about your actual lifespan.
The ultimate stakes.
Yeah, it taps right into that primal fear of death. The demand would be unlike anything we've ever seen.
And what about the scientific community? The doctors, the researchers? They must be reeling.
Utter disbelief is what the sources suggest. I mean, for decades, maybe centuries, medicine has focused on treatment, managing decline, adding a few years here and there.
Right. This thing claims to just sever the source of poisoning. It fundamentally challenges the entire medical paradigm.
It's not just a threat to, pharmaceutical companies' profits, though obviously that's there. It questions the entire point of much of modern medicine.
Exactly. If you can stop aging at the source, what happens to all the research on age-related diseases? What happens to the care models, the ethical frameworks? It's an existential crisis for the field.
You'd expect massive resistance then from established players.
Oh, definitely. The sources point to significant academic and institutional pushback. People who've built entire careers on the old model aren't just going to roll over. They'd fight it, question it, try to debunk it.
Well, the scientists and institutions are fighting it out. The media.
Oh, the media would go absolutely wild. Forget nuance. Headlines screaming, longevity is real, the secret is out. Pure sensation.
You can just see the clickbait now.
Totally. And social media, it would just explode, especially younger people. The sources mention phrases like, I refuse to die early, becoming rallying cries. And this really chilling one, not installing the death replacement black box, choosing to be poisoned.
Oof. That's incredibly stark. No middle ground.
None. It frames not having it as an act of self-destruction. Imagine the social pressure that creates. It's manipulative, sure, but incredibly powerful.
Okay, so that's the initial shockwave. Disbelief, then frenzy, resistance, media explosion.
Yeah.
What happens next? When the dust settles a bit and this thing starts to become reality for some. This is wave 2, right? The division.
Yeah, wave 2. Social stratification and global competition. This is where the cracks really start to show. It stops being just a medical marvel and becomes a societal fault line.
How so?
The sources describe the emergence of basically 2 distinct classes of human. Those with the system, they call them the owners, or the longevity class. They're healthier, more vital, living longer.
Okay, and those without?
They face this constant gnawing anxiety about their shorter lifespan. They become the sacrifice or the poison class.
Sacrifice class. That's brutal.
It is. And the key thing is this isn't just about money, like rich versus poor now. It's biological, a fundamental difference in your potential, your future. It creates entirely new labels, deeper than anything we have now. You're defined by your lifespan.
That's terrifying. And nations would react differently, surely.
Oh, absolutely. Developed nations think the US, Japan, Europe, they'd likely scramble, legislate, promote universal installation.
Why? Just public health?
Partly, but also strategy, national security. Imagine the power advantage of having a population that lives decades longer, stays productive longer. They'd see it as critical for global standing.
Makes sense. What about, say, more authoritarian states?
The sources suggest places like China or Russia.
Yeah.
Well, the elites would likely get access first. Control it.
Ah, cementing their power.
Pretty much. Using longevity as another tool of control, leaving the general population further behind, this would just pour fuel on existing social tensions. Imagine knowing the party leaders will live to 150, but you won't.
Yeah, that wouldn't go down well. And developing nations.
This is where it gets really dark. A new kind of exploitation. The sources use the term longevity colonies.
Longevity colonies. What does that even mean?
It suggests the wealthy within those nations might import the systems for themselves, maybe striking deals, while the vast majority of the population gets left behind, or worse. The sources mention the poor possibly becoming experiment rats.
Oh, God. Like testing grounds. Or maybe their biological resources are exploited in exchange for limited access later.
It's unclear, but the implication is grim. A new form of colonialism, basically, but the resource being exploited is life itself.
This is escalating quickly. From a health trend to global power struggles.
And the ultimate prize, control over the technology itself. The sources make this bold claim. Oil wars will be replaced by longevity wars.
Longevity wars. Wow.
Think about it. Whichever nation, or maybe corporation, controls the mass production of this death replacement black box. They hold all the cards.
For how long?
The sources suggest hegemony for hundreds of years. It becomes the ultimate currency. Forget oil, forget data. Access to life extension is everything.
So you'd have conflicts, blockades.
Yeah.
But instead of oil tankers, it's shipments of these boxes.
Exactly. Economic sanctions wouldn't just hurt a nation's GDP, they'd literally shorten its citizens' lives. The entire global order would restructure around who has this tech and who doesn't.
Okay, this leads us straight into the potentially catastrophic wave 3, conflict and elimination. If people are living way longer,
Yeah.
what does that actually do?
Well, first, the sheer numbers. The sources estimate average lifespans jumping 30, 50 years. Maybe reaching 120, 150. Some individuals even hitting 300 plus.
300 years.
Think about the strain. Food, energy, water, housing. Our planet, our infrastructure, it's just not built for that.
It would trigger an unprecedented resource crisis.
Severe crises, yeah. How do you feed billions of people living decades longer? Where does the energy come from? It risks ecological collapse, forcing these awful choices about resource allocation. Who gets to keep living longer if the planet can't sustain it?
And the inequality we talked about just gets worse.
Much worse. The divide becomes a chasm. Those with the system have extended life. Those without are seen, maybe even explicitly described, as being accelerated toward elimination.
Elimination. Like just letting them die off faster.
The sources imply a societal fragmentation far deeper than any class war we've ever conceived. It's not just unfair, it's perceived as a biological destiny. One group lives, the other fades.
What does this do to things like, well, religion, faith?
Huge challenge. The sources pose the question directly. If people don't die, is heaven still necessary?
Whoa.
It would spark enormous turmoil within religious institutions. Some might try to adapt, see it as a gift, maybe. Others would undoubtedly condemn it as playing God, as heresy. It strikes at the core beliefs about life, death, the soul, the afterlife.
A genuine crisis of faith on a global scale.
Absolutely. And politically. Imagine leaders who could rule for centuries.
Dictators for 200 years.
Or even just entrenched political classes. Regime change becomes almost impossible. Democracy, innovation, social mobility, they could all stagnate.
Younger generations would be completely blocked. No room at the top ever.
Exactly. The sources talk about a severe compression of opportunities, leading to potentially massive generational conflict. The old, long-lived guard clinging to power, the young having to wait centuries for their turn. That's a recipe for revolution or utter despair.
Okay, so looking beyond the immediate chaos.
Yeah.
What are the long-term possibilities? Where does humanity end up? The sources give us two paths, right? Optimistic and not so optimistic.
Yeah, two very different futures for this new civilization. Let's start with the hopeful one.
Please.
And it's a huge if, this system somehow becomes universally available, global access for everyone.
Okay, a big leap, but let's assume.
Then, yes, average lifespans could genuinely hit that 120, 150 range, maybe higher for some. Humanity could enter what the sources call a three-peak life.
3 peaks.
Yeah, like peak 1, maybe 60, 80 years of extended learning, deep education. Peak 2, a vast period, maybe centuries, of creativity, contribution, building things. Peak 3, a time for tackling the really huge long-term problems, breakthroughs.
So individuals could achieve so much more within one lifespan.
Exponentially more.
Yeah.
Imagine the cumulative effect on science, art, philosophy. Progress could accelerate dramatically because knowledge isn't lost as quickly, and people have time for deep, sustained work.
That actually sounds amazing. A golden age, almost.
It's a compelling vision.
Now that,
But then there's the other path.
the pessimistic one, let me guess. Universal access fails.
Exactly. Longevity remains exclusive. The rich, the powerful, the elites, they get it, others don't. And this leads to what the sources call a new racial division.
New racial division, not like ethnicity, but...
No, not ethnicity, it's more profound. A biological split. A long-life species versus a short-life species, defined purely by access to this technology.
God, that's chilling. To literally see yourselves as biologically inferior, doomed to die early while others live on for centuries.
Imagine the psychological impact, the social breakdown. The sources suggest this path leads to catastrophe, global war between these two species.
The short-lifers rising up.
Yeah.
Or the long-lifers deciding to manage the problem.
It could go either way, or both. The sources mention the elimination of certain groups, the total fragmentation of civilization. The divide becomes absolute, existential. Humanity tears itself apart.
So this technology, this Air 6No thing,
Yeah.
it forces a choice.
A fundamental choice. Longevity stops being a philosophical question and becomes an urgent societal fork in the road. It's not just a gadget, as the sources stress. It redefines everything. Nations, survival, what it means to be human. Like gunpowder or electricity or the internet, but maybe even bigger.
Yeah. And it's strange how the source material circles back at the end to that religious framing we noted earlier.
It really does. It ends with this stark warning, calling it the Lord's longevity unlocking sacred artifact.
Right. And stating explicitly it has no therapeutic purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Which is odd.
Very odd. And then it warns that the Lord's will won't tolerate theft or imitation. Using fakes isn't just illegal. It says it offends the Lord's will, and you bear the consequences yourself.
Wow. So after all the geopolitics and social upheaval, it ends on this almost mystical note.
It does. Which leaves us and you with a really profound question to chew on. Beyond all the science and the societal chaos, what does it actually mean when a world-changing technology is presented like this, as sacred, as subject to a Lord's will?
What kind of power struggles are really going on beneath the surface here? Human ones, obviously, but
Yeah.
maybe something else too. Who is this Lord?
Exactly. What's the hidden layer to this revolution? Something to think about.